The following episode has been recorded during the Open Group Amsterdam Summit on May 20, 2025. Hello and welcome back to Open Comments. Today we are joined with Doron Orbach. He is an experienced product manager with more than 20 years of experience in product and engineering. In his current role, Doron leads product management for enterprise architecture at ServiceNow. Previously, Doron led the configuration management and discovery at HPE. Doron's extensive career also includes a deep understanding of complex enterprise systems and a proven track record of driving strategic product direction. His expertise ranges from basic configuration management to innovative enterprise architecture solutions. Welcome to the Open Comments podcast, Doron.
Yeah, thank you. Great to be here. Happy to talk to you today.
Thank you. Now, before we dive in, please can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure, yes. So I'm a director at ServiceNow, product management for enterprise architecture. I live in New York City, great place to live. I originate from Israel, so I came to the US 20 years ago, and now I'm working in ServiceNow for the last 3 to 4 years, managing the enterprise architecture product. And this is my first Open Group Summit, and I'm really excited about it. So this is great to be here so far.
And can you tell us when you first heard about the Open Group and your relationship with the Open Group so far?
Sure, yes. So previously in my career, I was in a round of companies that started with HP, then HPE, and then Micro Focus. Back then, I worked at Standard together with my colleague Mark Bodman on standard that was called IT for IT. So HP was very much involved into the standard, and this is actually the first time where I learned about the standardization of processes such as IT and the ITIL process and how it works within the enterprise. And the IT for IT was a standard that was introduced in collaboration of other companies. And this is the first time that I've heard about the Open Group, but I wasn't part of the actual work with the Open Group, so I knew about it working with internal folks back then in HP. But when I moved to ServiceNow, the initiative of ArchiMate, which is critical for enterprise architects to do their jobs, was the one that really led me to take part and be more involved in the Open Group and to understand ArchiMate. I came to this enterprise architecture. I wasn't born enterprise architect. I came to it via product management. So this learning curve led me to a lot of reading in the Open Group sites, and this is where I thought it would be a good idea to also be part of the Open Group. And luckily, ServiceNow was already part of several forums, but we joined the ArchiMate Forum also 2 years ago, and since then we are actively participating in it.
And please can you tell us more about your involvement in the ArchiMate Forum?
Sure, yes. So ArchiMate is playing a great role for enterprise architects to model their future state of IT. And when I took the role of product management in ServiceNow Enterprise Architecture, it became apparent that having the functionality of modeling future state is critical. And that while we have our own modeling language, which is called CSDM, we must align it to the ArchiMate model because this is a standard model that many companies rely on. Many enterprise architects know it as the only standard for modeling future state. So my first involvement was really to learn it and to take hold of this, and then I got more involved with the forum leader, with Kelly and JB, who runs the forum, and we had several discussions in the past, and I'm participating in the calls that they are on Fridays, and trying first to understand it and then to also to influence it, for example, by participating in events like this. So this has been a process of about 1 to 2 years already that we've been more actively engaged in this forum. And actually, yesterday was a great moment where I was able also to present some initiatives that we are doing in ServiceNow, actually to align the language of ServiceNow. The language of ServiceNow is the CSDM, the Common Service Data Model, to the standard language of ArchiMate, which we think will open the gates for more usage of ArchiMate on one end, on the ServiceNow platform, and trying to create this collaboration between the business side and the technical side that can be represented together, bridging these two models.
Mm-hmm. And for those who may not know much about the ArchiMate Forum, can you share any nuggets from the forum so far, or anything you'd like them to know, say if they were just stepping foot into the forum, of things that they should know about beforehand?
Yeah, so in general, the forum has the mandate to govern and to create this language, and to say what is going into the standard and what is not. And what I like in general about this forum and about this collaboration in general, that it's a collaboration. So it's an open group that you get to both to see what others are doing, what others are working on, and you get also to comment and have your opinion and to say if you think it's the right thing to go to, or if you have any other comments. So any draft that is going to these publications, you can review it. So you get an opportunity, you can collaborate, and the collaboration is really between knowledgeable people. Usually these are companies and people that have a vested interest in improving this standard. So I think it's this is the result is an open group that share ideas. You can both learn, you can both influence, and eventually to create a better standard that works both for your company, but you understand that it's not only the interest of your company or your product, or whether you are a bank, whether you are a vendor trying to sell enterprise architecture, or whether you are an institution that is a university. You all eventually have a shared model, which is very hard to achieve, because eventually it can bridge industries, it can bridge countries, it bridges, it's a global standard. And the nice thing is this collaboration happens, and eventually there's a standard that everybody can agree upon and can act upon. It's not always easy, but this is what's good about this process.
And staying on the theme of collaboration, what does collaboration mean to you? And do you think it's an ever-growing thing where collaboration can take different forms, whether it would be with a group of people, whether it be working alongside someone, but coming together to work towards a goal, but also learning from each other and discovering more about each other in terms of, where you're going professionally, where they see a project going? How do you balance expectations, you could say, within collaboration?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So I think for me, collaboration starts with the fact of being open and coming with, on one end, with agenda and interest. We're all doing this, or most of us doing it as part of our jobs. So we have vested interest to succeed. And you always have your own opinions and your own direction. But the key thing about collaboration is to first understand that there are other people that see the world differently and have different experience and bring in different point of views. And being able to collaborate is being able first to listen to what they say, to ask them the right questions, to try to really understand what they're saying. Sometimes you'll find that in many cases you agree on many things, and in many cases you don't agree. Where this is where collaboration really is, I would say, taking the life of trying to discuss and to agree on common ground that you can both agree upon and work towards it. And if sometimes there is a conflict, trying to find ways to also to create a bridge on the conflict. Sometimes it's to get the other side opinion. Sometimes it's to collaborate in a broader forum that helps you to guide it towards the right place. Usually the crowd wisdom is crowd wisdom. It leads you usually, not always, to the right place. But I think the most important is to listen, is to understand that there are different cultures, different opinions, different interests, different directions. And your job is to try to influence the best as you can, but to keep the courtesy and understanding that it's a joint work and joint collaboration. And one more thing is collaboration is, I work in large organization. I work in ServiceNow. It's pretty large. We are almost, I think, 30,000 people or something like this. You need constantly to collaborate even within your own organization. And enterprise architecture, by the way, is the absolute place where you must collaborate, because as a team, as a group, you are usually a small team surrounded by much larger teams, operational team, application teams, and business teams, and CEOs and CIOs, and you need to be in the central and to collaborate and to try to influence with this collaboration.
Nice. And do you have any advice for any future enterprise architects out there?
Yeah, I think especially in today's world, I think that enterprise architects are challenged by a change of technologies and rapid movement in the industry that we have never seen, or we haven't seen in the last 20 years, maybe since the internet. And talking, of course, especially about new things like AI and generative AI that is coming to play. And it's very up to keep to organizational. But also before this, enterprise architects need to keep pace with things like move to the cloud, everybody move to mobile, and how do I scale up my systems, and how do I keep operational resiliency. So when everything is changes, I know that things are still continuously providing value to my business. So I think the first thing that enterprise architects need to do is continuously learn. They need to be the ones that understand what are the new trends in technology, so and what is the next thing that is going to happen, so they can guide the organization toward the right place. So learning, I would say, is the number one thing that I'm trying to do in my profession, but I think for enterprise architects is absolutely crucial. And if I'm looking into the second advice, is go back to the previous question that we had. It's about listening and collaboration. I think eventually enterprise architects are a team that is influencing other teams, is not dictating or is not mandating other teams, is influencing by showing them the standards, presenting them, showing them the direction, understanding what is the business transformation that we're trying to do, and trying to align the technology and the other people who work on the applications towards this vision, towards these goals. So listening, collaborating, and providing the guardrails for doing things is the best thing to do. So it eventually comes down to listening and collaboration, and when you have the learning and the knowledge of how to guide these teams, to guide them to the right direction, then you will probably be on the best path, regardless of the technology, regardless of the business that you're in it.
And how do you overcome challenges, and what advice do you have for those facing career roadblocks?
Well, career roadblocks, yeah, in general, I think first you need to take into account that in this era of work, you will usually face roadblocks in your career because things change so fast. I can give advice, family story, like my son just finished computer science, and 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we all thought computer science is the profession of the future. Now when everybody is ending the school, it's very hard to find job. It's not easy to find job because suddenly the voices are, oh, AI will replace all the programmers. So you never know what is the right job. So first is when you look into your career, you need to follow a little bit your heart. I'm also believing in the fact that you need to be practical. I came from a very practical, I would say, tradition. You need to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. So my belief is you need to be practical, but you need also to listen to your heart and try to focus on the things that you do. And when you come to a career challenge, it might be you're not being promoted when you think you need to be promoted, or you unfortunately got fired, or you got... Usually, if you take a little bit of time you'll find that with time things will work out the right way. Usually you need to just keep on moving. It might be learn new skills, learn AI, learn how to leverage AI within your job. I think this is the number one skill that you do. Maybe learn something else, maybe learn some skill that is not relevant at all. For me, when I was in crisis of work, I took some time and I learned new skill. I learned music. I felt that music was the thing that was missing in my life, so I learned the music, and now I'm drumming for several years now. And this gave me the realization that even at any age, any time that you have an obstacle or a challenge, you can still learn something new. You can apply this new thing that you do, and with this new, I would say, realization of yourself and what you can do, you will also eventually find the path forward in your career. And this is good for enterprise architecture as much as it's good for other personas.
Would you say as well, it's a bit like a pendulum swing in the sense of, say, where you're going in your career, the direction you may have, or there may be moments where you feel a bit deflated in certain situations. For example, you may feel like, you need to progress a little bit faster, or you imagine yourself being in a different position than you already are. How, as you just mentioned earlier, in terms of, carrying on, you could say, keep on carrying on. How would you manage that? For example, in a world that is so fast moving and there's so much that everyone needs to learn at one given time, you can easily upskill, but there's so much available. Do you think it gets to a point where there may actually be too much available? So how do you almost like block out the noise and streamline what you need to focus on first and practice and gain those skills as you go, instead of being overwhelmed doing everything all at once?
Yeah, for sure. I think what you're saying is absolutely true. And one of the feelings I think we have in this environment is that you always feel if you miss something. Oh, if I'm learning this, I need to learn this.
Yes.
There is always this feeling of missing something. And I think at least important thing for me was to think that if I like what I'm doing now...
So passion.
Yeah, it's the passion, and if I like it, I don't miss anything. I mean, other people can do other things and they probably like it, and they probably it's good for them. So if I like what I'm doing, it's probably a good thing for me, and you don't need to know everything. It goes back to collaboration and understanding that you are eventually, you are as good as you are part of a bigger thing, and you are doing your best. You need to always do your best, you need to have your aspiration, and you need to have your goals and motivations, but there is a certain degree that you need to understand that it's not just up to what you're doing. So do your best, learn the things that you like, learn the things that you enjoy learning, and focus on this. And I believe that good things will come, because this is the best that you can do. And if you're doing this, then you will feel fine with your choices, and you will find that you'll also get your opportunities eventually. It's about, if you feel that you're using your opportunities, or you're trying to find your opportunities, then you're in the right place. Yeah, there is so many things you won't be able to do, but focus on what you can do instead of the other things that you won't be able to do. It's fine.
Would you also say osmosis may play a part in that as well, in terms of, say, when you're collaborating others and you're in all these sessions and meetings, the knowledge that you gain from those meetings may hit you afterwards or a few months later when more people are talking about it, they bring up things in discussion, and the puzzle is being brought together more. Because, I know when you're in a meeting or when you're collaborating, it can be maybe a little bit overwhelming when there's so much knowledge and information. You want to get so much out of the session, but you also don't want to give, I guess, so much information that it's overwhelming, right?
Absolutely.
And it may sink in later.
Absolutely, and I'm just reflecting of my role as a product manager for enterprise architecture product. And truly saying, when I joined ServiceNow 3.5 years ago, I knew that they are enterprise architect, but what was exactly their job? What are they doing? Truly saying, I didn't know. And I came to ServiceNow in order to rebuild or build a new product for enterprise architecture. And my goal was to learn what are enterprise architects doing. And when you talk to, it's like the story for the elephant. You talk to one enterprise architect and he describes it in one way. And it's all about technology, and you need to have the right technology. You talk to another one, it will tell you about the business, and the third one will be from maybe a university, and it will be completely different story, or it might be about regulations if you talk to the banks. And at one point you understand, I either don't understand anything, or just wait, and things will eventually, put themselves in buckets, and things will get a little bit more, and you find out that, so you start to do things based on what you know. They are not exactly the right things, but with the time you start to hear common motives again and again, and then suddenly things are being categorized within your mind, and eventually, for me at least, within the product, within the direction of the product, because you start to understand what is this beast really all about of enterprise architecture. You start to understand in this case that it's simply not the same for everybody else, and everybody else will eventually get the product and use it in the best way that they can, but you need to build the things that are common to all these organizations. Just by the way, like we discussed in the beginning, the ArchiMate. So eventually ArchiMate is great, but every group, every team will probably have some ways that they use it, which is a bit different than the other organization, because not every organization is exactly alike. And these things usually come with time, with learning. So listen, absorb, and eventually you will figure it out. Yes, that's what we do.
That's great. And would you say there's been any projects that you've been a part of that you felt you would have maybe liked to do a bit differently? Or, say if you could revisit any projects and change certain parts of it, and if you could, would you do that? Or do you believe things work out for a particular reason, or even if the goal that you had in mind for that project didn't work out, you still got a lot from that project?
Yeah, I think first, there were many projects in my life, that I either built and didn't succeed, or built and eventually you find out, oh, that's not the right way to do it, and maybe I should do it a different way. And usually it happens when somebody enlightens you and comes and tell you, but this is not right what you did here. You connected these two parts in the wrong way, or you built this UI and it's not right. So usually I think, there are very few mistakes that you do in technology or in life in general that you cannot fix or you cannot change. And if you made such a mistake, so usually either you write some things down and you say, well, we wasted 6 months of work, but we at least learned something out of it. So you either try to fix it or you do it from scratch, as long as, again, as you know that in the time of building it, in the time of doing it, you rely on your best knowledge, on your best judgment, that you probably did the right thing. So usually it's better to look forward and to see what you can do now, instead of looking into what was wasted and what went wrong. Again, it's good for the project that you built, or for career decisions that you made, or for life decisions that you made. Better to realize what I can do now, not what I could have done 1 year ago, because that's already gone. You cannot change it.
And finally, would you like to share any takeaways from the Open Group Amsterdam Summit so far?
Yeah, so for me, it's really about this my first Open Group Summit that I'm attending. So really a great event, and for me, it really goes down to meeting people that you can discuss and share experiences in the same material coming, but from different angles. So just yesterday in the event, we had in the Heineken brewery, I met a few folks that one is consulting for companies how to do enterprise architects, one is running enterprise architecture for educational institution, and just talking, over a beer and getting their deep insight. Of course, it needs to be much more discussed and shared, but getting sometimes bulbs of ideas even during a session like this. This is, I think, the main idea about this conference, is you cannot get it by sitting remotely in your office and doing a Zoom meeting, because everybody is very much to the point. And suddenly when you have this one-on-one collaboration, informal collaboration, it's really open up the personal communication and the ability to really get to this idea. So I think it's this personal connection that we are looking, which is also playing part on this Open Summit, that is really the strongest thing for me.
And before we wrap up this episode, would you like to share anything else with our listeners?
Yeah, I think in general in this life you need to try to learn as much as you can. But as I mentioned before, it's learning what you enjoy is also a way to learn things. So it's not just about learning the necessary thing and pushing just. I'm not just learning enterprise architecture to be a better product manager for enterprise architects. I'm also trying to learn other things and seeing other ways of thinking in order to improve my capabilities to do it. So I think being wide, trying to learn more things, trying to learn things that interest you will also help you to be more specific in what you're doing. So I think the more you enjoy what you learn and what you do, the better you will succeed at it.
Are there any quotes that have stuck with you that you like? You just mentioned, learning collaboration. Are there any that you fall back on or that inspire you, for example?
First, I'm very inspired by our CEO, Bill. He's having every Monday a quote in LinkedIn, that video and quotes in LinkedIn that I'm really interested. So just this morning, he mentioned, that if you want to achieve something, you need first to dream about it. You need to think about it big, but dreaming is one thing, and many of our dreams are not being fulfilled. But if you want to really get something, eventually write it down or put yourself, I want to achieve this.
So taking action, manifesting.
And then take action on this. So I think this is really the key part. So, and as long as you know that you're moving towards your goals, and your goals might change over time, and this is fun, but as long as you know that you have something in your mind, you have a vision, you're moving towards, you will feel better with yourself, with what you're doing on a daily basis.
So to summarize that, I guess you could say, as long as you're putting in the work in, you're passionate about what you do, the rest will follow and things will work out. How they're supposed to work out.
That's
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on the Open Comments podcast. We hope our listeners have enjoyed this episode as much as we have, and it's been really great talking to you about collaboration and your experience so far at the Open Group Amsterdam Summit, and we look forward to seeing where you go in your career, and hope to have you back in the future soon.
Thank you. Hope to see you soon. Thank you
very
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.